Hey guys, so I have Sector 5 for you today, and then that will be it for the series. It's pretty straightforward. I'm pleasantly surprised with how good some of these feats are. But let's hop into it and look at what they are exactly. We'll break them down, and then I'm going to show you a few teams that I've been using that I think will be really helpful. And then we can yeah, wrap it up. And then hopefully you guys are well on your way to whichever crate you're aiming for, whether it's gold or red or silver, whichever one. Okay, so let's have a look here at the actual feats. Okay, so in Sector 5, you need to defeat 50 enemies with smuggler units. This is going to be pretty straightforward. The really great thing is a lot of people have Han and Chewie built up and they're smugglers, so that's going to be fantastic. Attempt to inflict Purge 300 times. This one is sort of bugged. I'm going to show you how. It's only bugged on a specific node, but we'll have a look at it. Evade at least 100 attacks in battles that you've won. So that's the caveat. You have to win them. This is really straightforward. I'm going to mention whether or not there are evades on teams that I'm using. I'm not going to show a specific team for it because I think you can get a lot of these done as you make your way through the sector. That's usually how it's always been for that feat for me. And then you want to attempt to inflict fracture 40 times. This sounded really daunting when I first read it, and it's actually not that bad. So I'm going to show you a really cool way that you can get this done, and you can get it done pretty quickly. So let's have a look at the gameplay. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is defeating smuggler units, 50 units with smugglers, sorry. And I think this first team, pretty much everyone, I don't want to say everyone, but most people will have built up, so, which is why I like it. So it's just your typical CLS team, and Han and Chewie are your smugglers here. So you want to be able to give them the kills when possible. But instead of taking Chewie and 3PO, I'm actually going to take R2D2 instead. So I'll take him with C3PO, and then that way we can double dip on the global feat where you need to win 20 battles with those two in your squad if you're still working on that one. If you're not, then it doesn't matter. You can take whichever fifth one that you want here. So going against Bad Batch is really great for this team. You just start off by shooting Echo, and you basically have control over them right away. And then again, you just want to make sure that you're letting Han and Chewie get as many kills as possible, which is fairly easy to do. Unfortunately, R2 does steal some, but since Han and Chewie are pretty much always attacking in tandem, they're going to get a lot of the kills for you. So pretty straightforward. You can use that while you go through the sector, which is really helpful. And that got us 3 specifically. But I want to show you another smuggler team here. So this one, again, I'm using as I make my way through the sector. So I'm going against the Rex clone team here that you saw. We still only have 3. But I'm going to take a full smuggler team. So now it doesn't matter who lands the kills. They're all going to contribute no matter what. So Dash Lead, personally, is one of my favorite options for smugglers. Obviously, if you have Jabba, you can use Jabba, but I'm not going to illustrate that for obvious reasons. Han and Chewie, again, perfect for control. And then what I want to do is take Vandor and take L3 as the tank, even though she's only gear 12. Because what's going to happen is Vandor is going to get prepared, and L3 will just revive, which is fantastic if you also want to try to 3-star the nodes as you're making your way through. You're constantly going to have that happening. I do still have the 2 Zealous Ambition discs equipped. They're both gray, which means that when Dash does his AoE, he's going to wipe a lot of the health and protection, if not kill them right away, which is great. So, pretty straightforward, though. You have the typical Rex team. Dash wipes a bunch of them. And again, because they're all smugglers, it doesn't matter who lands the kills. You're going to be getting credit for them right away. So we did get, I believe, 5 there. Yep, so we're up to 8. Just keep in mind, Volatile Accelerator will steal your kills if you're using that. All right, guys, so I want to show you here Fracture. So this is pretty fun. I did it on the mini boss specifically, but I think you could also do this on teams with Nest or teams like Night Sisters where they have a revive. But the mini boss seemed to work really well, and this is a lot of fun. So you're gonna take Thrawn lead again here, because of his little granted ability and turn meter gain mechanics and all this fun stuff. First Order Officer has the ability to swap turn meter, or to grant 100% turn meter to whichever ally he targets, which is going to be Thrawn all the time. Watt, because we need some tech out there, and then you want 2 tanks. Kylo Ren Unmasked is great because he does taunt at the start, so you can at least take the initial barrage away from your other guys that way. And then I did choose to take Ninth because she would take advantage of the Empire correlation with Thrawn and also have the half step, and then that way 2 tanks, so you can kind of just inflict have the barrage inflicted upon them. So this is pretty straightforward. I am going to fast forward this. So the idea is pretty straightforward. You want to give the weapons tech to First Order Officer first, because that way he can get some more turns going and swap his turn to Thrawn as many times as possible. And then you are just going to kind of go through the team. Obviously, I can only attack Malgus because he's taunting. And every time you can with Thrawn, you're going to fracture. I did give the tank tech to Ninth Sister as well, so that she would hopefully taunt while she still has protection. And then with Thrawn, you want to turn meter swap to whoever has the highest turn meter, so that way he can keep coming back around to himself and have that fracture off cooldown. If he can't turn meter swap, I was also doing his granted ability where he gets 50% turn meter, because again, you're getting him back to his turn faster that way, and we can just kind of take advantage of more fractures in that manner. So there are 2 things that are actually hindering me that I will tell you about with this specific fight. The first one is that I do have Volatile Accelerator still equipped, so you can see that they're dying off because they're just racking up so many dots, so that basically when they go to take a turn, they just die because they haven't been taking turns as often as they should have been. The second thing is I still have those 2 gray Zealous Ambition discs equipped, and Thrawn is a support character, so he's going to hit harder than usual when he does fracture because of those discs. So what I would recommend is obviously not having Volatile Accelerator equipped. I just completely forgot that I had it on while I was doing this. And if you don't have Zealous Ambition, great. If you do, I would probably save this for the end, because it's not a battle that you necessarily need to win for. You just need to rack up the fractures. So you could take advantage of timing out. But if you want to save removing your discs for the end, I like to swap them towards the end of my Conquest run, so I'm not swapping them consistently. And then that way you can just take advantage of Thrawn hitting less hard than what he would usually hit. And you'll actually get more fractures out that way, because you can see that you're not really worried about them taking turns, which is kind of the great thing, because you can just keep taking advantage here of the fact that they're stuck. Thrawn's fracturing them, and you can just keep getting more fractures in that way, so you don't also have to be concerned about them necessarily hitting you back and you dying too quickly. So again, pretty straightforward. I had absolutely 0 fractures before this battle. I had not attempted it at all. And again, this was just on the mini boss node. Nest, I think, would work really well because you can just time out on her. Or Night Sisters with the revives could be helpful. I don't have either, unfortunately. But you can see just after the 1 battle, we're at 9. So removing those discs, maybe 4 battles tops, 3 if you get lucky. Okay, so let's have a look at the actual boss feats here on the mini boss. The first one is obviously Hokey Religions, so winning without all of those lovely people. And then you also need to win with Darth Revan surviving. So I do want to do the Bam Han Chewie dash here and see how this goes, and then take my Darth Revan in. So still with Volatile Accelerator equipped because of the dots, which have been helpful. And then Zealous Ambition, so that dash can just kind of wipe as many of them out as possible. I chose to shoot Basti first just to kind of see if she wouldn't put fear out on everybody. And then we could kind of go from there. Dash obviously is going to do his lovely AoE. And then the great thing with Bam here as well is because they are scoundrels with him, other than obviously Darth Revan, he can put that damage immunity out there, so I can keep Dash alive longer that way and then get another hit off from him if it's, necessary to do so. So you can see here, we have that opportunity. We can give him damage immunity, get him some protection back, and then that way he's still hitting really hard for us and doing a lot of the heavy lifting to get through this with Darth Revan surviving. Pretty straightforward. They do take turns, so if your Darth Revan is like gear 3, might be dicey. But in which case I would probably take advantage of like a voluntary Vanguard disc and going in with a really strong tank to hide Darth Revan and maybe a tether tech just to make sure that they don't do any AoEs on him so that he can survive that way. But pretty straightforward, and then Whistling Birds obviously help to knock off a good chunk of that health as well, but Dash is the one that's going to do a lot of the work here, and we can just make our way through and win with Darth Revan surviving. All right, so that is that essentially. So the only other feat we have left to do on this boss is the No Jedi, Sith, or Unaligned Force users. I do want to use my clones with Chewie here. I think that they will work. I had the thought that they would work. I didn't want to use Grievous only because I had already used him a couple of times and his stamina was pretty low, so I figured this would be the next best thing. Obviously, there is the other option of using, like, if you have a Jabba team or anything like that, would potentially just be able to walk through. So, pretty straightforward, though. It doesn't really matter that they are going first, to be honest. Rex is eventually going to be able to do form up and cleanse all of these debuffs off of them anyway, but I do really like that Chewie gives them guard, so you can kind of hit a little bit harder. Echo, again, is a support character, so he's going to hit harder with his attacks because of the Zealous Ambition discs that we've got equipped. And then again, I'm still using the Volatile Accelerator disc because of the dots. I find that they are helpful. It's just really nice to have them rack up and then see the enemy just kind of fall over for you. So they do kill Chewie, which kind of sucks, but that's okay in my opinion. We're still able to get through it without him. He did his job for as long as possible. And then again, anytime with Echo that I can like throw that grenade, I'm going to do it. I like having the turret on him for the assists. And then you just kind of have to whittle down Malik here, unfortunately, which is the trickier part since he just keeps gaining so much protection. But it's pretty straightforward. And you just kind of just obviously keep hitting away at him. It's not going to be a clean win, obviously, since we lost Chewie. And Malik is, unfortunately, spoiler alert, going to kill my 5 so that I don't get the sacrifice, unfortunately. But it's still good just to get through and get the feat done. We've already 3-starred it anyway, so again, I'm not that worried about being clean on it. And if I needed to come back and clean it up afterwards, I would anyway. All right, so there is the mini boss. So let's have a look at Reva, who is the boss in Sector 5 here. So you need to win with Darth Vader surviving, and again, no Jedi, Sith, unaligned Force users, etc. And the really great thing with this one, this battle in particular, is it is currently slightly glitched. So you can say I have 41 Purge right now, which I've just been getting by using Grand Inquisitor through the sector. You will also get Purge on this fight based off how many the team does to you. So I'm going to go in with Grievous Nute. It's going to double dip for my global feat, which I love, and it's going to get me that Hokey Religions feat, and it will hopefully get me a decent amount of Purge done that I can just kind of make my way through without having to necessarily cheese it. So Pretty straightforward with Grievous. You just want to spread the target lock around so they're not gaining a lot of turn meter here, or bonus turn meter. And then, unfortunately, you do have to hit Reva so many times. The thing you want to remember with Reva, with her kit, is she's going to revive after you kill her the first time. So you actually are going to have to kill her more than once, which is slightly annoying. But the great thing is that you're able to kill off the sides pretty decently, just with AoEs from Grievous, etc. And you can see that my guys are getting Purge on them every time that we pretty much take a turn. And then it dispels, and then they get it back. So we're constantly just having Purge reapplied to ourselves, even though the enemy team is not taking a turn right now because Reva is stunned. So it is a little bit slow and lengthy, especially with this team. But I kind of was okay with it because I figured this meant if the Purge issue was working, I would get more Purge granted this way. So I would have to do this fewer times in the future. So we're going to kill her the first time. She's going to come back. She's got tons of turn meter, so she is going to take a turn and kill a few of our guys off here, which is a little bit annoying. And B1 is slowly going to die off just because of the modifier here. But Grievous has a ton of protection stacked on him and health, and we're able to just slowly chip away. And she eventually dies because of the dots from Volatile Accelerator. So we get the feat done. And again, I had 41 Purge, I believe, before this. And now we're up to 125. So pretty decent. And we can get it done that way. Okay, so now we want to win with Darth Vader surviving on our team. And again, I want to take Bam Han, etc. With Darth Vader. Darth Vader is going to be great when he gets to go into Merciless Massacre because he'll be able to get around Reva's taunt. So we will be able to theoretically kill off some of these sides even quicker. And then what is also really fun with this team in particular, and I know I use them a lot, but Bam has his Whistling Birds special, and Whistling Birds prevents revives. So if you can kill Reva with them, she's not going to come back for you to have to kill again a second time. So just something to maybe keep in mind when you are going through your teams. I'm not going to do it yet because I think it's too early to go into Whistling Birds. I want to keep everyone around. Everyone looks relatively good. I really just want to get the sides out of the way. Get it down to just Reva if possible. And then that way we can focus on her alone and then go into Whistling Birds when we get a little bit closer to it being like a guaranteed kind of kill sort of thing. And I'm not wasting the effort. So pretty straightforward, though. Dash is obviously doing a lot. I absolutely love that you can stun her, especially with Dash and Han. And also Chewie will be able to stun her as well with his second special. So you're able to keep a lot of the control that way and keep it going. And then there's the Whistling Birds. So we only have to kill her once. And then that way you don't have to worry about her coming back and like seeking vengeance on Vader. And that is that. All right, guys, so that is Sector 5. It's wrapped on this whole conquest, so it's going to be the exact same feats for the next two. If there are any bug fixes or anything like that, I'll definitely let you know as soon as I do. But hopefully everything stays the same, and we can just kind of make our way through Conquest, again, 2 more times, and being well on our way to unlocking Trench or finishing unlocking Scythe, whichever one you are working on. See you next time.